Hello, this is Angelo Morales. I'm here today to educate you about your STRS and your PERS pension system. We do about a couple hundred workshops throughout public schools through the Bay Area and Central Valley every year. But most importantly, I'm going to educate you on how proper retirement planning works. What I mean by that is we incorporate inflation into our planning. And if the only number you're using to plan your retirement is what you're going to receive once you retire, you're setting yourself up to fail. And if you only rely on the information provided by CalSTRS or CalPERS, that's the only information they will give you. So it's really, really critical that you understand that inflation being 4% per year, and only 10 years from now, that's 4% times 10 years, money received 10 years from now has 40% less buying power. This workshop is presented by Aerolite Insurance Solutions, which is, I'm the CEO of Aerolite. And I'm also going to discuss how different investments work so that you can get far above inflation without risk. Now, I'm going to cover as much information as I can in this short period of time, but I can tell you it's not near enough information that you need to plan a successful retirement. So we do offer a no-cost one-on-one appointment. Generally, when we're in the workshops, we have you fill out a sheet, and then we'll give you a call to schedule your appointment. Just give us a call and ask for Marie Brookman. She's our client relationship management team, and she will schedule your appointment, and I can either meet you here at the school or at your school or at your home if you like, and I can also build a retirement profile for your spouse if you would like for me to do that. We specialize in STRS and PERS, but we can build retirement plans for anyone. Now, we use a custom software program, and in the one-on-one, this is one of the things I'm going to do for you is build you a complete retirement profile. And we utilize a custom software, as I said, designed for STRS and PERS. What we put into this software is your school district, salary increases until you retire, years of service to date, so that basically I'm going to have you bring your progress report either from STRS or PERS, and on that statement it's going to have your years of service to date. Now, the main differences, I'm going to explain the differences between STRS and PERS as we go along. The main differences are that with PERS you pay in full pension into PERS, you pay in 6.2 into Social Security, and you can receive both at retirement. With STRS, you don't have that 6.2 withheld from your salary. So if you were in any other occupation, they'd be taking that 6.2 and giving it to Social Security, which is a federally failing retirement system. So at least you're not forced to participate in that. So CalSTRS recommends you take that 6.2 and create your own independent Social Security, if you will. So basically you have the ability to take control of your own destiny. But the problem is a lot of teachers, when they start their careers, they don't realize this, and they get 6-8 years into their career and they haven't done this savings on a disciplined structure, so therefore they fall way behind on their retirement income. So it's really important, even for you young teachers out there, to realize that you need to get on track, start planning your retirement. It takes almost a full career to plan a successful retirement. Another thing we're going to put in here is your desired retirement age. We're going to set up an income goal for you. Generally, it's going to be 2/3 of what you're making now. In this example, it's $40,000 and the teacher is making $60,000. We're going to use your STRS or your PERS formula. We're also, the most important thing is we're going to project inflation into your plan. We're going to calculate a tax bracket. If you've got PERS, we're going to calculate your Social Security. With STRS, generally we say don't count on much. Then we're going to also incorporate your non-qualified assets like CDs, what have you, with an average rate of return. If you got qualified money like 401k, 403b, TSA, IRA, Roth IRA, anything like that, we lump that together with an average rate of return. And then if you're contributing to a retirement supplement account, we enter that as well. And if you decide to increase your contribution, we would add that. Now this example is based on a 45-year-old teacher, has 10 years worth of service credit, wants to retire at age 60 with an income goal of $40,000. Keep in mind that's 1/3 less than she's already making. I can tell you, most everyone I sit down with, their retirement plan is not on track. This is what it looks like. And the green represents your retirement income coming from your pension system. In this case, it's STRS. And you can see a slight upslope there. That represents the COLA. And it would also be representative if you were collecting on PERS. The only difference here is with PERS, you see another layer in this graph, which would be represented in yellow, and that is Social Security. Okay? If you go all the way to the left, you can see the STRS income isn't going to quite hit our goal. The goal is from the bottom of the green to the top of the blue, to the left. And the software is automatically pulling from our retirement supplement funds, that being represented in blue, to add to the STRS income to hit our income goal and maintain that goal every year until age 66, where it looks like it's run out of retirement supplement funds. Now the slope on the top is represented in of inflation. So even though we set up our goal, you need more money as you move through your retirement to maintain your buying power. And as I said, this plan isn't anywhere close to being on track because this is way too much shortfall to solve from now to the time this person retires. So there's some adjustments that need to be made. And you've got 4 areas to adjust, and they're your choices. You can work longer. Scales of balance, if you will. Wherever you're willing to pull and take is where you can make your adjustments and get your plan on track. As I said, you can work longer, start a 403 or increase your savings to a 403. Seek a higher rate of return on your current investments, especially if you're volatile to market loss right now. You don't want your retirement funds subject to market loss. In 2008, there was an average loss in mutual funds and variable annuities of 47% loss. Imagine having your retirement funds cut in half in a year. You can also reduce your income goal. Now, my minimum income goal is 2/3 of what you're making now. For STRS, it's 75% of what you're making now for PERS, okay? Now, like I said, that is what I consider my floor goal. I don't like to go below that, but there are cases that we have to. If somebody started late in their career, we'll have to adjust that down. At least you'll know what to expect during retirement from your pension system. Now, in this case, this person decided to work 3 additional years, max out her age factor, and both systems max out at age 63. With STRS, it maxes out at an age factor of a 2.4, and PERS, it maxes out of an age factor of a 2.5. That'll make more sense over the next couple slides. Just keep it in mind, it's a multiplier, if you will. There's more retirement income coming from the pension system. The blue is going farther because she didn't collect on her retirement supplement funds for 3 additional years. She contributed for 3 additional years, and she increased her contribution. Now this shortfall is well within reason. She's 45 now, and she would slowly increase her contributions until she retires, which is 18 years, until 63. And this retirement is on track. Now, what we would do at this point is we'd save this plan, And with my clients, I review every year and a half, and we kind of tweak this along as you move through your career and as things change, or maybe your priorities change. Maybe you want to retire younger with less money. You know, we can do that. So this is what we consider a true retirement plan. Really, really important that you get this in place and stay with it, especially as the times change. Okay, now this is a copy of a STIR statement. The PER statements look similar. You need to know how to read it, and you want to know how to monitor it. Most teachers would get a full service year for every year they work. And that number is right in between in the top in the service credit box. Now, I sit down with teachers where that year is fractionalized. And I ask them, is there a reason for that? And they say no. Because there are times it's just sheer clerical error made by your school district or CalSTRS. Just a good idea to keep an eye on that. Make sure you're getting the proper service credit. Another thing I need you to know, with PERS people, a lot of times they're not considered full-time, so they're getting like a 0.7 or a 0.8 per calendar year they work. Often I sit down with PERS people and they say they've worked 15 years, but they only have 10 years worth of service credit. This is really important that you know this early in your career. The number above the 1.00, that is your prior accumulation, and the number all the way at the bottom is your year-to-date total. This is the most current statement out, June 30th of 2010, so it's running about a year and a half back. When we do the one-on-one, we'd add that year, that service credit onto your calculation to reflect accurately. Down below, we have a defined benefit account box, okay? You contribute 8% of your check into STIRS. The district puts in 8.25 with you, and the state puts in 2.12. With PERS, it's 7. You contribute 7. The district does 7.25, and the state does 2. So keep in mind, this is only reflective of your contributions. This has actually nothing to do with calculating your monthly benefits at all. All this really is represented is a death benefit in the event that you passed away before you retired. Okay, the next page on your STIRS statement is a one-time death benefit box. If you don't see a name in this box, you have not selected your beneficiary. And I can tell you only 2 out of 10 teachers have a name in this box. It's very, very common for teachers not to have selected their beneficiaries. So this is one of the first things I do is look over your statement, make sure you have selected, and if you haven't, I'll get you the form so that you get this taken care of. If you don't select your beneficiaries, chances are your money could go back to the state, and I just don't want to see you take that chance. Okay, there's another box on your STIRS statements called a DBS, Defined Benefit Supplement Account. This account started in 2001, sunset in 2010. It was designed to provide a portion of benefits for a portion of wage of over and above your contracted number of days you work at the school. Any paid committee, summer school, coaching, anything like that, an extra benefits went into this account. This has no new dollars are coming into this account other than interest credited, okay? The prior dollar amount I showed you, the defined benefit money, will translate to a monthly benefit once you retire. This money will be paid out in a lump sum distribution if you wish. You could transfer it to a IRA, prevent from paying the income tax, continue the tax deferred growth, or you can take it over annuity payments over 5 to 10 years. I strongly recommend taking control of it, and in the event something happened to you if you passed away before you retired, your beneficiary would receive your defined benefit account money and your DBS account money. So it's strongly recommended that you show them that this money exists, Or better yet, if you become one of my clients, just have them give me a call and I'll advise them exactly what to do. Okay, now this is your formula. It goes by years of service times an age factor times your final compensation. And July 7th, 2003, they changed STRS and PERS. So every day worth of accrued sick leave equals 1 day of service time. So you go to retire and you have 90 days worth of accrued sick leave. For most teachers, that accounts for about a half a year's service credit, in addition to what you've actually earned. Now, times an age factor, that is a multiplier. Higher the multiplier, the better off you are. Again, I'm going to explain that in further detail on the next couple slides. Times your final compensation. If you have 25 years or more, it goes by your highest consecutive 36 months of earnable income. 25 years or less, it goes by your highest consecutive 36 months of earnable income. If you have 25 years or more, it goes by your highest consecutive 12 months of earnable income. So earnable being important to understand. If you cut down your workload close to retirement and you started job sharing, by example, and you had an earnable income of $70,000, but you were working 50% of the time, that you were actually earning $35,000, they're going to calculate your retirement benefits based on what potential earnings were. Another thing that a lot of teachers, another strategy some teachers put into place is they got a plan to be an administrator for 1 year. Because if you do this, keep in mind, anywhere in California, they go by the high water mark of your career. So if you had over 25 years, put a year in as a principal or administrator, what have you, that they're going to use that income for your whole career. Okay, here's the age factors I discussed. It starts at a 1.4 at age 55, maxes at a 2.4 at 63. And for the PERS people, generally I pass out a workbook that will show these calculations. But on the right-hand side, you get, if you have 30 years in, before turning age 63, you get a 0.20 career extension added onto your age factor. Simply put, let's just say you had 30 years in at age 55. You take 30 years times a 1.6 age factor equals 48% of your current pay. Now, there's nobody that I've sat down with yet that's able to retire on that amount of income. And that doesn't take into consideration inflation. So the good news is you can retire as young as 61 and a half with the maximum age factor. Keep in mind, you're coming up on 2 levels, years of service and age factor. If you want the most amount of benefits for the least amount of commitment, you plan around retiring when you max out your age factor. And in this case, it's a 2.4, either at 63 or 61 and a half, and with PERS, it's at basically 63 with a 2.5. Okay, this is how it'll all come together and make a lot more sense. Now, I had a client came to me and want to retire at age 58. This is the age factor. If you look at 58, a 1.76 age factor is associated with age 58. Now, she had in 27 years in at that time. You simply take that 1.76 times 27 years equals 48% times her current pay divided by 12 months out of the year comes out at $22.27 a month. Now, this is one of the things we also help you do is maximize your benefits and prevent you from making any mistakes or errors close to retirement years. And I strongly encourage you to assess any early retirement incentive offers as well, because they generally throw these offers out and give you a short window of time to make this selection, and you don't want to make a lifetime mistake. So in this case, we decided to, she decided to continue working till age 61, 32, she got into 30 years of service, an age factor of a 233, and 70% of her current pay, and the longevity bonus was in place at the time. It sunsetted January 1, 2011, and what it was is $200 a month for 30 years of service, $300 a month for 31 years of service, and $400 a month for 32 years of service. If you had those years in before it sunsetted, you got that locked in, and you will receive it. As I said, she retired before it sunsetted, so she got $36.76 instead of $22.27. That was an increase of $1,500 a month for 3 additional years. Monumental to the success of her retirement. Especially proportionate. She had 27 years for $22.27 a month. So those 3 additional years really added a lot of income to her retirement. Now, as I said before, STRS is not near enough retirement income. Keep in mind, most retirements are built on multiple streams of income. Some have pensions, some have Social Security, and some have 401ks. Most have Social Security, I should say. So you look at the bottom here at age 63, 32 years of service, maximum age factor, still only about 75% of your current pay. And that doesn't take into consideration inflation. Okay, I want to remind you what we do on the one-on-one appointment. We will review your STRS and PERS statement with you, get you familiar of how to read it, develop a realistic retirement age, a realistic retirement income goal, project what to expect from your retirement income from STRS and PERS, including inflation, build a comprehensive retirement profile, incorporating your 403s, your TSAs, Roths, what have you, to project, to come up with a complete retirement roadmap, basically your plan. Assist in setting other goals, such as sending your children to college. We're college planners, whether it be college savings or college funding. We also would do a current investment analysis, tell you exactly what your investments are doing or not doing, and most important, whether or not they're subject to market loss. You just can't afford to have your retirement funds subject to market loss. In 2008, the average mutual fund or variable annuity took a 47% loss. So therefore, a lot of people that were in those vehicles, retirement supplement vehicles, lost half of the retirement supplement funds. We don't advise that type of volatility. Okay, this is where most people make their mistakes. They don't incorporate inflation planning into their retirement plans. They just, most people, they just look at what they're going to receive once they retire compared to what they're making now and make a judgment call whether or not that's going to be enough. And simply put, that's setting them up to fail because they have no idea what these dollars are going to have once they retire, the buying power of those dollars. And here's what I mean by this. Inflation being 4% per year, just 10 years from now, 4 times 10, dollars received 10 years from now have 40% less buying power. So, and it continues to deteriorate as you go through your retirement. So it's really, really important to plan properly. If you were fortunate enough to make exactly what you were making before retirement, after retirement, these orange bars represent the 2% COLA built into STRS and PERS. The green bars represent inflation. So if you whatever $4,000 purchased of goods and services when you first retire, you get 15 years in, you now need $6,323 to pay for the same amount of goods and services. And if you only relied on your COLA, it would only provide $4,549 in this example. That being an $1,800 a month gap. This is when most people figure out they didn't plan right. And their only option is to go back to work or to cut their lifestyle. And this is what we are trying to help you do, is prevent this from happening to you. This is why you see so many teachers come back to work, start subbing 3 to 5 years after they retire. And it only continues to get worse as you move through your retirement. Okay, this is an example of an after-tax retirement vehicle. Somebody just cashing their check, putting $400 in a credit union. The person on the right's utilizing a TSA, tax sheltered annuity, or 403B. Difference here is this amount reduces your taxable gross, and therefore you pay less federal tax, less state tax, and the net being identical, but the person on the right's contributing $215 more into their retirement supplement vehicle. Simply put, they're making additional interest on that $215 for 20, 30, 40 years, where the person on the left paid those taxes and they're gone forever. This is known as a pre-tax advantage, very powerful. Along with that, you have what's known as tax deferral advantage. So between pre-tax and tax deferral advantage, big difference in your compounding of your accounts. So really important to understand how this strategy works. Now, this represents all investment strategies across the board in a general sense. The light blue line is a fixed rate of return, and anything below inflation rates losing money. It's a soft loss, if you will. You don't see it on your statement. The bottom line is anything below 4% just isn't keeping up with the cost of living. So it's not a long-term investment strategy. The problem with the red line, it represents stocks, mutual funds, and variable annuities. Highest potential for gain when the market's good, highest potential for loss when the market's bad. These squares on the graph represents a calendar year, so it takes 2 years from 2002 to 2004 just to get above your original principal balance because you're recouping your losses. The blue line, the dark blue line, is representative of indexed annuity, okay? It's similar upside potential when the market is good, but when the market tanks, the worst it can do is level out. And when the market returns and starts to be good again, your index annuity account has a lot more principal in it, so it doesn't need to work near as hard, and therefore it's accelerating past the other strategies. And this is actual data from 98 to 2008, where we call that dark blue line the stair-step method and the dark red line the seesaw method. Okay, this is another client of mine that was burnt out, wanted to retire like yesterday, but she felt she was going to have to work until she was 59, and at 59 she'd have 28 long years in, $25.16 a month, still not quite enough retirement money. Now, my suggestion to her was to start job sharing. She had this opportunity available to her. And right here at age 55, get some stress relief, continue to do so until 63. And again, she was married, so financially she could afford to do this. And what it did, same number of service years, still got 28 because you only get a half year service credit for a half year worked. But she got $1,000 more a month. And simply put, she delayed filing for retirement. So because of her age factor was higher, she got more money per month. Okay, this is what's known as option selection. When I first talked about your beneficiaries in the beginning of this presentation, we're talking about designating your contributions to a beneficiary or loved one. This is where you would pass on a portion of benefits to a loved one to extend your retirement income to a loved one. I don't recommend this. You need to assess it early on and recognize if this is the way you want to go or not. I strongly do not recommend this. You can only make this selection at age 55 or 30 years of service. Now, member only, that is also known as unmodified, if you will. That only is taking you into consideration for retirement income. If you want to pass on a portion of benefits to a spouse, by example, and you picked a 50% beneficiary option, you're going to take a reduction in your starting amount of 7%. Okay? And if your starting amount was $4,095 and you passed away, your spouse would receive $2,048, okay, in a 50% beneficiary option. Now, the further you go down to a 75% beneficiary option, that's 11% reduction, and 100% is a 16% reduction. Here's the problem. That's almost a $650 a month reduction, and I've seen it where it's been over $1,000 a month it was costing a teacher that I sat down with. Now, let's assume that that $650,000 a month paid for a $1 million life insurance policy instead for your spouse. Your spouse would receive $1 million in their hands, tax-free, that could be sitting in an annuity, indexed annuity, and completely safe from market loss. If in fact they didn't utilize all those funds, then they could pass the remaining portion on to the rest of the family. In this case, in comparison, this monthly amount is dribbled out in a taxable manner, and if your spouse was to pass away, there's nothing to pass on to the rest of the family. What most people don't realize is you're just buying life insurance in this case, and it's very ineffective, expensive life insurance. Now, we notify all our clients approaching 55 years old whether or not this applies to their situation. You might have heard of a case out at Modesto Unified. We were actually visiting our client and looking at an option for his wife, and it was going to be $3,300 a month for her. She was age 54, and before he had a chance to fill out the paperwork, he rolled his 4x4, broke his neck, and died, and the paperwork was still sitting on the kitchen counter. Now, this was a horrible circumstance because she didn't work, and she was 54. We felt she was going to live until she was 80. That's 26 years. So it's $3,300 a month times 12 times 26 years. It was over $1 million worth of lost benefits to her. Now, in this case, it was very important, and she needed it, and he couldn't have qualified for life insurance, so it was important. And it was important to get that option selected as soon as possible and not wait until he retired, because the default is member only. So again, if it applies, make sure that you assess it properly. Okay, I want to remind you the main thing that we provide is excellent retirement planning, STRS and PERS maximization, college planning. We can open any other type of annuity account that you would like. For your appointment, give us a call and ask for Marie Brookman. She is our client's relationship manager, and she will set up your appointment for you. And we can meet you either at the school or at your home if you like, and we can also build a retirement profile for your spouse. Thank you very much for your time.